What up, boys? Sales Series Part 3. In the previous videos, I've explained everything when it comes to your pitching process and your discovery process. And in this third video, the final video of the series, I'm going to go over everybody's favorite topic, objection handling. Okay? Now, if you follow all these frameworks and all of these processes by the time you finish this video, then I personally guarantee that your close rate is going to go up by 5 or at least like 10%. Okay? But you need to follow all these scripts and frameworks properly. Now, when it comes to objection handling, what you need to understand is it doesn't mean that people don't want to buy. Okay, people want to buy if they like your process. If everything before objections was good, including your pitching and your discovery process, then people should want to buy. Now, when it comes to objections, there are three big categories that we put objections in. Okay, the first is masks. Masks are basically all the bullshit objections, like I need to think about it, send me an email, this is how I make decisions, I need to think about it, I need to pray on it, I need to talk to my partner. All of these bullshit surface level objections, these are the main objections. We don't even call these objections because these are not like objections. These are bullshit excuses of trying to avoid responsibility. Okay, now the next one is logical objections. When it comes to logical objections, they can be masks sometimes. Okay, people that, like, the funny thing about objections is that people don't even realize that they're given objections. It unconsciously comes out from the prospect because they're scared. It's an investment, it's a new thing, it's money out of their hard-earned money, okay, out of their pocket. And it's obvious, you don't want to pay a random person 5K just, immediately. That's why you get objections. Now, logical objections sometimes can be masks, but sometimes can be real objections. Just to give you an example, let's say there's a person and they have a wedding coming up. Okay, so they want to wait like 2 weeks to come into the program. Now, that doesn't mean that you should do a follow-up call, because even though they have a wedding coming up, that doesn't mean that they cannot use your program. Okay, even though they have a wedding coming up, okay, who cares? Do we have 2 hours a day to implement our systems? Yes, okay, so you can use our process. Now that can be a mask, if that's the case, if they can actually use your program. But if it's a logical objection like, hey, I'm working 16 hours a day for the next month and I genuinely can't use your process, then okay, then he just can't use the process. Then it's a logical objection. Then I'll deposit and come back to us in a month and start, working with us and pay for the full program. Those are logical objections. And the real objections. Now, when it comes to real objections, we can break it down to 2 parts. Okay, finances and fear. Those are the 2 main objections that you can get on a sales call. It's either finances, they don't have the money for it, or if they invest into your program, they're going to be in a tough spot, or it's fear. Okay, they've never done this before, they got burned in the past by something like this before, they don't believe that they can get results themselves, they don't know what's going to happen in the future. All these limiting beliefs that they have, that can be one of the main objections outside of finances, obviously. Now, you're not going to get the real objection on the top of your objection handling, okay? Usually an objection handling process is like 15-20 minutes, 10-15-20 minutes, depending on how serious the objection is and how serious the fear and the finance objection is. But you need to get there, okay? You're going to go through multiple masks, you're going to go through logical objections, you're going to go through multiple rounds of fear, and it sucks. Okay, it sucks, but if you master it, if you practice it enough, then you're gonna be a beast and you close every single person on your sales calls because they just can't get away. Masks and all these logical objections, these are kind of like excuses for them to go away and avoid responsibility and avoid working with you, even though they want to. Okay, it's just a limiting belief. Now, when it comes to your objection handling process, I'm going to give you the super common example. I need to think about it. This is the process. Okay, first what we do is we diffuse and do a buy-in. Now, the reason why we need to do a diffuse and a buy-in is because we cannot handle objections on a negative frame. Okay, if we don't ask them if they like the program, and then we don't know if they actually like the program. We need to know if they like the program, because if they do, if they feel like the program can help them, then we know that, okay, the process can help you, so why do you not want to work with us? And then we get into all the detailed stuff, all the emotions, all the fears, all the logical stuff, and we'll handle them. We're going to reframe all their logic, flip the switch and get them to be bought into the process and move forward with us. Now, this is how it sounds. So When you want to diffuse and do buy-in for and to think about it, the first thing that you're going to do is diffuse. Okay, what does diffuse mean? Diffuse means that we're not just gonna say like, why do you want to think about it? We need to agree with them. Yeah, of course, bro. All good. Take all the time in the world that you want. Of course, you can go and think about it. Just diffuse. Agree with them. Yeah, of course, not a problem, bro. Go and think about it. Okay, that's diffusing. And the second thing that we're gonna do in this same sentence is do a buy-in. Now, this is how the whole thing sounds. In I don't know, in like one scripting. No worries, bro. Take all the time in the world that you want. But before you do some, before you go and think about it, do you feel like what we went over today in terms of X and Y and Z, this is your process? Do you feel like this can actually help you get your goal? Or how do you feel? Because for me, that's the most important part. Now, this is the part when we ask them if they genuinely feel like our process can help them. If your pitch was good, then they should give you a firm yes. Yes, I feel like the process can help me. Okay, good. Now, we're not just going to stop there. The second thing that we're going to do is do a double buy-in. We're going to double down. Okay, Brian, and what about the program makes you feel like we can actually help you, though? Because if you ask this, then they're going to start explaining why they feel like we can help them. Now, if they go, I don't know, or if they go anything negative outside of a yes, maybe they say like, maybe, I'm not sure, potentially, all these words that are not like a firm yes, that means negative. That's not a positive. Like I said previously, we need to do objections on a positive note. So if they go negative, then we're going to go negative as well. Because we need to turn the negative into positive. So what we're going to say is, let's say I ask them, do you feel like we can help you? And they say, maybe. Then the next thing that I'm going to ask is there any reason why you feel like it can't help you? By any reason? And they should say no. Or if there's any reason why they feel like it can help them, then they're going to start listing it and you handle it. You explain it to them. Okay? But we need to go through objections and we need to start objections on a positive note. So this is the question that you're going to ask if they go anything else but a yes. Okay? Is there any reason you feel like this can't help you? If they say no, okay, so what about the program makes you feel like we can help you though? So as soon as they say no, you go double buy-in again. Now, once you go through the first two questions, the first two buy-ins, the buy-in and double buy-in, then we need to clarify. Okay, now we know for a fact that these people know that we can help them. These people feel like we can help them, so we need to know what's actually going on in their minds. Like, why do they not want to, move forward with the process if they feel like we can help them? So this is how we're going to clarify. When you mention that you want to go and think about it, Mr. Prospect, what's coming up for you that makes you want to do so? Just to see if I can help with anything. It needs to sound super casual, it needs to sound super chill. You can't really force them to do anything. You're just simply curious what's coming up for you. I just want to see if I can help with anything before we hop off this call. And then they should start opening up. Okay? They should start telling the real objections or even another mask. Maybe they say, I don't know, man, I just want to think about it. Can you send it to me in an email? So now it's an email objection, an email mask. So you need to go through the scripting with the email mask. So this is how the full objection handling process looks like. Okay, so you need to do a diffuse and buy-in for the first step. Second step is double buy-in. We need to double down. Okay, why do you feel like we can help you? And then for the third part, we need to clarify what's actually something that you want to think about. What's going to happen in the next 3-4 days when you go away and think about it? What's going to happen in the meantime? If you go and think of it. Okay, so this is the objection handling process. Anytime you hear an objection, this is what you're gonna say. Okay, anything they say, they don't have to start with the think about it objection. They can say email, they can say fear, they can say anything, as long as they avoid responsibility and as long as they try to pull back and get off the call without paying you. This is the process that you go through. Now, I wrote down some common masks and some common objections for you, and of course some logical stuff. So masks, for a few examples, like I said, I need to think about it, send me an email, this is how I make decisions, I need to talk to my partner. These are the masks, okay? These are the bullshit objections that if you hear these on your calls, then you need to know that, okay, this guy doesn't want to think about it. This guy don't need an email. Like, why do you need an email? I just showed you everything. If you have any questions, this is the perfect time to ask these questions because you're not going to know anything just by me sending an email. This is how I make decisions. Yeah, bro, I know. That's why we're on this call, because you've been making decisions the way you've been making decisions. And that's what led you to this call. Because the decisions that you've been making up until this point, they've been bad because you haven't been getting to the results that you've been wanting to get to. And I need to talk to my partner. It's just avoiding responsibility. They want to talk to their partner, but they don't need to because their partner has nothing to do with them joining this process, unless maybe their partner has their money. Like let's say if the guy says I need to talk to my wife because she has my money and I need her to get access to my money, then of course like you can't do anything about that. But if he wants to go and talk to his wife just only for the fact to talk to her and then ask for her opinion, then that's just bullshit. Okay, like he can make the decision on his own. It's his life, his money. He can make the decision. He doesn't need his wife. Now, when it comes to logical objections, these are the masks. Okay, let's say I'm traveling within the next 2 weeks. Okay, but do we have like an hour per day to at least start going through our process, start understanding our program, and really just go through like an hour per day in terms of our material? Like, do we have that time? Yes. Okay, then you can do it. That's the first one. I have a wedding coming up. Same thing. I'm moving in a new home. Can do this now. Same thing, kinda. Do you have an hour a day, even though you're moving to a home? And then I'm busy, don't have time for this. There are multiple ways of being busy. There's one way of being busy, which is I'm going to be busy for the next month, and then I'm going to be good. And there's the other half of busyness, which is I have a job and I work 14 hours a day for the rest of my life. Now that's a different type of busy, and there's two frameworks to handle that. Maybe, like I said, I can break these frameworks down in another video. I just want to go through all the foundational stuff in objections in this, but when it comes to objections in this video, and then the real objections. Okay, it can be fear, finances, and logic. Like I said, now when it's to fear, it can be fear of self. I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure if the process works for me. I'm not sure about the future, blah, blah, blah. Fear of past. I've tried this before in the past. It didn't work out. I have some experiences, so I'm scared that this experience is going to be similar. And then fear of company. I'm not sure that your company in particular can help me as a prospect. All different frameworks, all different scripts, all different analogies, all different logical stuff. Okay? We have finances. Finances meaning the program is 5K and they have 8K to their name. Of course, we're not going to charge them the full 5K because it's going to put them in a bad spot. What we're going to do is we're going to break it down for them and put it in a payment plan. Or get them to do a deposit, wait for the next paycheck, and then do the full 5K. And then logic, like I mentioned, anything logical. It's not even really objections logic. It's just like logically figuring out how they can do the program. Like I said, betting, traveling, being busy, it's all logical stuff. It's not even objections. We just call these objections because it's within the objection realm, basically. But it's just talking it out, just really seeing if there's any way the prospect can join the program. So just to go over everything again, how this looks like is we call these the logic island. Okay, the prospect gives us an objection, we handle it, we put it on an island, we handle it, and we shut the door on the island. Okay, so the objection can come out, the objection is stuck, and it's never coming up again. What you need to understand about objections is if you don't handle it properly, then it's gonna come back up in the conversation later on. So that's why handling everything properly is super important. Let's say you get an objection saying, I have a wedding coming up. You handle it, you think you handled it, but then in 10 minutes it comes up again. Then it means that you didn't handle it properly, okay? Because you didn't close the door on the island, you didn't actually handle the objection. You need to handle it so well that the prospect needs to agree to your logic, okay? Does that make sense, Mr. Prospect? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Does that make sense? Is that clear? Just making sure that the prospect agrees to your logic, okay? When it comes to objections, it's all about logic. The prospect has a line of logic, and then you need to come up with a line of logic that's better, and it makes more sense than their logic. And if you have that, if you have a better logic than them, and they agree to the logic that you presented to the prospect, then it means that you won, your logic makes more sense, and then you close the door on the objection and you move to the next one. So what else is coming up for you? Let's say you handle the vetting stuff. Okay, I mean, so what else is left, bro? The only thing left is moving forward and starting this journey. What's left? What else is coming up for you? This is the question that you ask, and if there's nothing else, you close them. If there's finances, you go into a payment plan. Or they say, I mean, actually, I've never done this before. Okay, so now we get the real objection. It's fear. But we need to close the door on the logic. We need to handle the logic, and we need to move it forward to the next one. So that's the objection handling process. I'll make a few more videos on this just to really make sure that you guys understand the full process. We have Quantum Level Pro, our sales coaching program for closers. And this is a 3-month program going over all these stuff, so I can't really get over everything in one video. But if you guys want to, I can make a lot more videos about objections, help you guys understand it. But yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.